Today's gospel reading, our Lord gives us this beautiful analogy of the vine and the branches. So he says, I am the vine, you are the branches. And notice he doesn't say, I am like a vine and you are like branches, but really that's what he's saying. But it's important that we understand this analogy. So think of the main vine and branches coming off of that vine. And the sap, as we know for plants, there's sap that flows through the vine or through the main trunk or main branch. And from that trunk or from the vine to the separate branches, the sap flows. And without the flowing of the sap, the branches cannot exist. They will dry up, they will eventually fall off, they will just, cease to exist. So it's essential to be attached to the vine, to be attached to Christ. And when we think of this sap flowing through the vine, well, that refers to the life of God or the graces of God that we receive when we are united to Christ. So the key is that we are united to Christ, and it's only when we are united that we can truly bear the fruit that God calls us to, because the fruit bearing occurs only with the grace of God working within us. Sure, we can still talk about Christ if we are in a state of mortal sin. It could potentially do some good, but it's only when we are united to Christ, then the graces of God flow not just to us, but through us to others also. And notice that he also mentions that the Father, he prunes the branches so that they will bear more fruit. And those of you who know anything about gardening, you know that sometimes you cut off the extra branches that are kind of useless, just taking up energy or using up the energy from the sap. So God prunes us in different ways through the experiences that we have, mortifications, things like that. God enables us to grow spiritually so that ideally we bear much fruit. But we must cooperate with that pruning, which is not always easy to do. It means embracing the cross, embracing difficult situations, and trying to be the way that God calls us to be. So when we do this, like I said, we bear much fruit, and we're happy, we're content, we're nourished by the sap flowing through the vine. And if we are truly like the branches, then the question we ought to ask is, okay, how can I receive more of the sap that is flowing to me? So the sacraments are the primary channels of God's grace to us. So frequent and worthy reception of the sacraments, confession, Holy Communion. Holy Communion we can receive every day, confession whenever we need to. It's a good idea to go on a regular basis. But how much we receive from the sacraments depends upon our own personal life of prayer, our own personal devotions. So through prayer, especially through meditative prayer, we are enabled to grow closer in our relationship with Christ, with God. So the more we understand our faith, the more we connect with God through a life of prayer, the closer we are to him, which means that we will receive more and more of his graces, which enables us to be the way that he calls us to be, in which case we end up bearing more and more fruit. So the takeaway from this is draw close to Christ, who is the vine. Draw close by prayer, the sacraments, reading of the scriptures, meditating on the scriptures, meditating on the life of Christ. All these things will help us to receive more of the sap that comes through the vine, more of the actual graces and the sanctifying graces that flow to us from God through the sacraments and through our pious devotions.